You know, one of the real neat things about working on this project was getting to work with a lot of guys, and guys talk when they're working. I've noticed that, and I got to talk with Nathan here. We were working on part of the project, and Nathan, you started to share your story, and I want you guys to hear that. And so, Nathan, what brought you to UVCC in the first place? It was about a year ago that you started coming, so we had already really started the building project for the most part, maybe not the construction, but a lot of the planning. And what brought you to this place?
We brought the kids to the extravaganza. We lived right across the street here.
Okay, so you're in this neck of the woods, came to Easter extravaganza. You told me that when you came, you had some serious questions of faith. Well, what do you mean by that?
About 10 years ago, my dad was in a drunken driving accident, and he hit two cars. The second one was a head-on, and he killed 3 people. Broke his back, his left arm, left leg, lacerated his liver, and punctured both lungs. God saved his life so he could spend 15 years in prison. And I didn't quite understand why. And then the day he was sentenced, shortly before that, my grandmother was diagnosed with a fast-developing breast cancer. She had a heart attack the day he went to jail. And she died a year after that. So, and she lived her life by the book. And she married the church and gave everything she had to the church. And she beat the cancer to die from congestive heart failure. And I couldn't understand why he took one of his own.
All right, so you come to UVCC with all these questions in your heart. What does God start doing after you start coming?
He told me to listen up. There's reasons why these things happen. My dad went through his thing because he was born and raised in the church, and he'd strayed. And I think that was what happened to him was God's way of opening his eyes up. And now he's back on the path and tells me that I need to stay true to the Word and to get my kids in church. And well, we dedicated the kids, so we're doing all right.
All right, so you start making this step toward, and things begin to change. You start to get some answers to some of these questions, probably not all of them. And there's somebody shares, just like you're sharing with these people today, somebody shared, and that really impacted you. Tell me.
Kevin Kuhn shared his story. And before that, I'd heard other people, yeah, God did this, and this happened to me. And it was just, at the time, it was just people talking. And after we started coming regularly, Tiffany and the kids were here before I was. And I started listening to what you and Paul say, and I started reading the book one day when there wasn't nothing else to do, and it starts making sense to you. You understand why everything happens for a reason. You don't understand what the reason is, but you know that He is the reason.
All right. And so this change is starting to happen. You said how you knew things were changing in your life. There was this one thing that might seem small to a lot of people, but it was big to you. What was that?
I didn't give my time or my possessions away for nothing. I always had a price attached to my stuff. And this guy I was working with, we're building a school, and he had a tape measure, but you couldn't read it. It was all worn out. I gave the guy a tape measure. I said, "You need a tape." The next day I brought him in one. I said, "Here, Merry Christmas." I told my wife about it. She asked me if I was sick.
So there must have been some change happening.
Well, you can only use one at a time. And I got a bunch of them. So I gave him one, and it felt good, 2 years ago, I'd have probably sold it to him. Now it's not that big a deal,
Isn't it fun when God starts working in your life and you see the changes and you know it's the right thing? Something really struck me that you said, it's not enough to read, you got to believe.
You got to believe it.
Word.
And I thought about this between services. You can have belief without faith, but you can't have faith without belief. You can read the book and believe it, but if you don't have faith in what you believe, then it's an empty belief.
And you've started to do that. That's really why Nathan's come so far, as he believes what the book says and he's doing it. You're putting it into practice and you're seeing blessing in your life. And, Nathan Foos and his family are one of the reasons we built this building. They came, you made room for him, he's here, God's changed him. That's what this thing is all about. Would you tell him how glad we are that he's here today?